the CEO and executive producer of Linda Lorelle Media. She has started something called Civil Discussions that I think Civil Dialogues that I think you're going to be fascinated to hear about, largely because it's pretty consistent with some of the things we were hearing about earlier, particularly from Tim Dixon. She also has a BA from Stanford, an MA from University of Missouri. She runs a nonprofit that gives away scholarships to students who otherwise wouldn't be able to go to college. So this is someone using her platform for great good, and we're going to learn about her life and how she uses that platform for good.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so Linda, just as an effort to kind of get to know you a little bit, I just met you this morning. We've been longtime friends since this morning.
Yes. We're tight.
Yes. But talk about some of the pivotal moments in your life that kind of moved you from, I mean, you're in college like anybody else, just studying, learning, planning on a career, and here's where you are now. I described some of what you're working on. Talk about pivotal moments in Laura's life.
Well, someone was talking about, I forget now which speaker it was, talked about the journey, and it's not a straight line. Mine is definitely very crooked. I actually, after graduating from Stanford, I had a career as a professional dancer, which has nothing to do at all with everything that I'm doing right now. But I was following my passion, which was expressing myself through movement, and it fed my soul. And so I knew that I was not going to be happy doing anything else in life until I had at least scratched that itch. And I'm glad that I did. The first pivotal moment after my dance career was when I was in a class in New York City. I was a Broadway gypsy, auditioning for Broadway. I injured my leg, and it was a career-ending injury. So that was the first pivotal moment. That led to me enrolling in graduate school at the University of Missouri, Columbia. There's a longer story there, which I won't go into, but I ended up going to journalism school and got my master's in broadcast journalism. From there, my first TV job was in St. Louis as a reporter, and then I went to Houston as the weekend anchor and education reporter, and after a year or so became primetime anchor. And then I was there until 2006 is when I left the station. Founded my company in 2008, Linda Lorelle Media, video production, communications consulting. Through that whole journey, of course, I'm a storyteller, I'm a communicator, and I'm a very passionate, engaged citizen. I deeply love this country. And as I was continuing my work, it started to become clear to me that I needed to be using my communication skills for a greater purpose. And I wasn't quite sure what that was. But as the divisions in the country became ever deeper and wider, I had to start asking myself the question, what am I going to do? Sitting here on the sidelines is no longer an option. So what does that look like? I remember having a conversation with myself shortly after the 2016 election, saying, what am I going to do? And I considered running for office, didn't think that I could have a deep enough impact as quickly as I wanted by doing that. The system then was, of course, broken. It's even more broken now than it was then. I didn't really see a straight line to doing something through office or through running for office. Also had a mother who was living with me at the time, with us at the time, had Alzheimer's, so I was a caregiver, and I couldn't do that. So what can I do? Well, I'm a storyteller, I'm a communicator. One of my, I think, gifts from God is the ability to make people feel safe when they're talking to me. Interviewing skills through the years. And as I thought about what is it? Why are we in this space with everything we've been hearing and talking about since last night? What got us here? How are we so divided? Even though the statistics that we saw this morning, oh my gosh, it's so enlightening. We're not as far apart as we think, but we're in these information silos where We are only seeing and hearing what we already think and believe. And if we don't want to come out of it, we don't have to. And so how do we get out of that? And at the end of the day, my conclusion is that we're here because of the lack of human connection. In person, eyeball to eyeball, human to human, not through a screen.
Right.
We have an entire generation of children, young people, who don't know how to sit here and talk face to face with another human. It gives them anxiety. They would rather go to a bot for communication. So how can I encourage more human one-on-one connection? That pivotal moment was leading me to, okay, I can do this one conversation at a time. So I launched a podcast in 2018 called Our Voices Matter. Intimate conversations to remind us of our common humanity. The idea being that if I'm interviewing someone, you see their photo on the screen. It says, okay, Linda's interviewing Neil Bush, who was my first podcast guest. Everybody knows the Bush family. People probably have some idea of who Neil Bush is and what they think of him. Already have a preconceived idea. My thought is that I want you, the viewer, the listener, to listen to our conversation and find one thing that he said that you have in common with him. And that's where we start. That's where we start.